Imagine walking into a modern hospital and finding leeches and trepanning tools in regular use. You'd flee, wouldn't you? But you step into classrooms today and you'll encounter a model just as antiquated, desks in rows, a teacher at the front, and pedagogy built not for learning but for managing obedience. This model, derived from Victorian independent schools, or let's give them their proper name, Victorian public schools like Rugby, has scarcely evolved. It was designed to produce uniformity, not curiosity, compliance, not creativity. And a lot of it was done with the cane. But children today are not the same as those in 1875. We have advanced from Tom Brown's school days. Children today are digital natives shaped by interactivity, customization, and instant feedback. And a classroom that ignores that reality is not merely old-fashioned, it's obstructive. And the argument is simple. We have to change. We have to adopt a new educational paradigm where every student is equipped with a personal learning device, a laptop or a tablet, and guided through individualized learning pathways. In other words, in my vision, I think it would be possible for a single teacher to be in charge of a class where there are a variety of different subjects being learnt in that lesson. This is not utopian. The technology exists, many homes already have it, and crucially many online schools are already doing it, not as a COVID-induced stopgap, but as a sustained and increasingly credible alternative. I spend a lot of time teaching online, and I realize that a lesson which is taught online, particularly a one-to-one lesson, I have to prepare almost an hour for an hour's lesson, whereas if I'm teaching in a school, I can prepare for 15 minutes at the most for an hour or a 40-minute lesson. So it's clear to me that online learning is about intense communication, and that the result is a better lesson. Institutions like King's Interhighway and Wolsey Hall in Oxford offer bespoke timetables, subject choice, live feedback, flexible pacing, and in many cases better mental health outcomes for students who struggle in the rigidity of traditional schools. Far from being isolated, these learners join global peer networks, interact in virtual clubs, are often treated more like individuals than numbers. And the pandemic showed us that what didn't work about remote learning, but it also inadvertently showed us what might work. Learners with anxiety, with special educational needs, with intensive extracurricular commitments often flourished. They rediscovered learning as a source of confidence, not fear. What doesn't work with remote learning is simply to place your classroom lesson onto the laptop. That doesn't work because we learn at a different rate on the laptop. And students who have been trained on the laptop through computer games are learning much faster. Our brains can comprehend about 800 words or 800 ideas per minute. At the very fastest, we can speak at 200 words per minute. So there's a disjoint in what our brains can process and what our teacher can express. And that disjoint is particularly noticeable with students who have spent a lot of time gaming. Their brains are hyperactive and they're easily bored. So we have a choice. Either we can appeal to that higher acquisition rate, or we can stamp on their boredom and make them distressed as well as bored. The real scandal is not just our outdated delivery, but the exam system that then props it up. GCSEs, now more about ticking boxes and thinking critically, reduce knowledge to sound bites and success to regurgitation. They are factory settings for an age of bespoke possibility. And when we come to IB, and particularly the lower school IB versions, it's not even that you're being measured on your ability to regurgitate facts. You're being measured on your ability to regurgitate interpretations. And the IB, don't be deceived by the IB. The IB is deeply formulaic. As a GCSE student, if you ask a GCSE student to reflect on, let's say, a philosophical paradox, evaluate climate policy, or connect Shakespeare to social justice, most can't. Not because they lack the intelligence, but because the syllabus leaves them no space for synthesis. And by the way, IB students are in the same position. We are training parrots, not thinkers. Worse, we're alienating them. Bright minds brought up on open-world games, on YouTube rabbit holes, and TikTok hacks find the classroom intellectually arid. They're not lazy, they are bored out of their minds. They are not incapable, they are understimulated. What's needed is a turbocharged curriculum that widens subject choice and promotes problem-solving, interdisciplinary thinking and self-reflection. If you don't have a teacher in the school to teach Latin or Greek, you can get it online. Homeschooling networks have shown how powerful project-based, child-led learning can be, and how far a laptop, a mentor, and a curious mind can go. We must take the best of online learning, its flexibility, its interactivity, its personalization, and integrate it into mainstream education. And we must learn from current research in cognitive science and educational psychology, which confirms that attention spans are shorter, feedback loops must be faster, and autonomy dramatically increased to develop and to ensure motivation. Why can't a state school child code a game, design a building, write a screenplay, or conduct an oral history project as part of their assessed work? The answer is they can, if they stop using the exam board as the curriculum. The new paradigm recognises that students are participants in their own education, not passive recipients. It lets them progress at their own pace, revisit concepts via digital tools, collaborate across geography, develop confidence in both their strengths and their support needs. Think of the transformation in a student who, for example, after leaving a conventional school, thrives in a virtual IB diploma. Or I can think of an autistic student, an actor, who found in online schooling not just flexibility but dignity. Or another student, an award-winning actress, who now no longer has to choose between stage and studies. This isn't fringe, this is future. And as for affordability, many of these platforms operate at a fraction of the cost of traditional private schools and could be subsidised far more effectively than building new school blocks no one wants to attend. We're not Luddites rejecting tradition for novelty. We are pragmatists and educators who know that context must shape content. To stick with a model designed for the empire in an age shaped by AI, by global collaboration and constant digital engagement is not only irrational, it's thoroughly irresponsible. It's time to replace the one-size-fits-all classroom, the factory classroom model, with a many paths, one purpose vision, where the purpose is not just to pass exams, but to become a confident, capable human being. And exams are part of that process. They're the signposts on the way. They're not the end goal, and that's the thing that we've got wrong. The revolution isn't in the future, it's already happening. The only question is whether we have the courage and the imagination to catch up. The only question is whether or not schools can leap on this bandwagon, because the bandwagon is already moving.